This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This is the state of basketball leader fan Radio Network.
They got a chance. They got a real shot.
And KFAN.com. Our stomachs aren't full. 2 minutes, 18 seconds past the hour, 3 o'clock, Central Daylight Saving Time. Welcome back. It is a Thursday production of the Bumper to Bumper program on a kind of stormy Thursday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I host the program. My name's Dan Barreiro, former Inkster and Wretch newspaper of the Twin Cities. Guardsy produces the show, and we are going the distance again today, all the way until 6:30 this very evening. I guess unless we have to evacuate.
Seriously.
So we had a tornado warning earlier, did we not?
Right here. Yeah.
And what amused me was nobody, evacuated, around our area.
We got shows to do, man.
And I guess that's, because at first I'm like, and that included me.
Yeah.
I feel like, is that too much? Is that too cavalier an approach? Should we have gone to? Is there I assume there's a basement boiler room here, right?
Probably
that you could get to at our building.
Yep, probably.
We all stayed, didn't we?
I stayed.
Maybe some people didn't.
Yeah, I got it. Well, it kind of came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, you get the alert on your phone.
Yeah.
And then I go on Fox9.com, and I think Fox 9 too. I see sleeves up for Ian, and they're basically it's right over downtown Minneapolis right now. I said, well, we're right over downtown Minneapolis right
pretty
now.
Close.
We're pretty close to that.
Yeah.
But no, I did not evacuate. We have a show to do.
And now the sun's out again. So
looks nice.
But stay sky aware.
You must stay sky aware.
That's very, very important. Sam Mitchell is going to join us in about a little less than 30 minutes this afternoon to say for the second consecutive series, I told you so. I don't doubt that he will do it, and he has every right to do it. Even after the Wolves lost game one, he texted me that not only would the Wolves still win the series, that they would win the series in 5. And that is indeed what took place yesterday here in the state of basketball. Can it be denied at this point? This is, as I understand it, the first time since the early 80s that any of our pro sports teams have made it to the Final Four in their sport consecutive years. And that's the basketball team. In the early 80s, it was the North Stars. They are long gone. The Wolves have become, it's almost scary, the degree to which among a lot of the national pundits, kind of outside Kenny Smith and Shaquille O'Neal,
yep,
that they will be surprised if the Wolves do not at least get to the NBA Finals, and perhaps then even more surprised if they don't win the whole thing. We have become, overnight, a fashionable choice to win the NBA title. Doesn't mean we're going to win it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean they still have a lot of work. They still, I think it's eight games. They have 8 victories they got to get to, right? You need 4 in each of the next 2 series to get there. But there's no denying that we're back. There's no denying that after a season that had lots of trials and tribulations, they have, if you want to call it basketball luck that they got in the second series, they took full advantage of it. You could say they played with their food at some times yesterday. I hated the turnover totals. I didn't like Ant's turnover totals, but in the end, they were clearly the better team, especially with Steph Curry out. And they are undeniably in the Final Four. In addition, here in the state of basketball, did you see the Star Tribune story that kind of tried to put together just how difficult it will be for the Lynx to play the disrespect card this season?
Yes, I did happen to see this.
Annual poll of WNBA general managers.
Those that know ball.
This is not just some ink-stained wretches out of, Paducah, Kentucky, or Bemidji, Minnesota. These are WNBA general managers. Here's what they voted. Lynx star Nafisa Collier was selected as the player most likely to win the Most Valuable Player award. She finished second in the voting. a year ago. She was also named the league's most versatile player, the best defender, and tied with Asia Wilson for best leader and forward. The Lynx are the favorite, according to the WNBA general managers, to win the championship they were deprived of a year ago. That was stolen
from them.
Correct. And Minnesota's Cheryl Reeve is the favorite to win Coach of the Year and was chosen as the coach who makes the best in-game adjustments and as the best motivator / manager of people. You want more here in the state of basketball? Minnesota native Paige Beckers.
Yeah.
The number 1 overall pick in the draft. Hopkins is renaming itself for a day. That might even be this week. I don't know. Was picked as the likely rookie of the year. Meanwhile, the impossible to knock off, the tenacious, who's going to beat them? Vegas Golden Knights, already eliminated in the state of hockey. They didn't even, I think they lost in 5 games after they knocked us off. So impossible to match up with Vegas. They're out. They're already out. Sorry, it's the state of basketball right now. Let's just be honest about it. There may be a lot of hope about the future of the Minnesota Wild. We'll all root for that because we want more programming options through the month of May. But nothing's happened yet there. Nothing has happened there yet. They haven't gotten to the Final Four once recently, let alone twice. The Minnesota Lynx, who already have, is it 4 banners?
They do.
4 banners. Now, they leveled off, obviously, when the core of that team, either, those players either retired or left or whatever the case may be. But the program has been sort of re-energized already after, if you want to call it, a few down years, to where they went to the final moment of the final game a year ago. That's not getting to the Final Four, but to the Final 2. And then they're favorites to take care of business, even though I guess they could still try to play the disrespect card because the opening weekend we're not in either of the national games.
Yeah. And the media doesn't talk about us.
And the media doesn't talk about us. But the general managers of the league,
they know.
They seem to know. Welcome, boys and girls, to the state of basketball. By the way, you know who should be inspired by this? Niko Medved.
Yeah.
A great opportunity to say, let's pick up this mantle. Let's not, the idea that we're going to have to wait 3 years to put it together. No. Take full advantage of the basketball momentum here in the state of basketball. I'm going to call it that every day until the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Minnesota Lynx are eliminated. Every day, it's going to be the state of basketball. And I know it's going to drive Fallness crazy, but his teams need to do something about it. That's all I can tell you.
Here's the issue for you is this might just be forever because the Lynx are going to go until October, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the Timberwolves season is going to start again. So you're going to be able to just pick it right up. There might be like a 2-week interim period.
Yeah.
Where you've got the Lynx wrapping up the postseason, and then the Wolves, maybe as defending champions, will be hoisting the banner at Target Center on opening night. Who do we play opening night if we win the championship?
That's a great question. Because
we'll be one of the first 4, right? And we got to be able to host
Okie City.
That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good.
If you win it, you host, right? You got to.
I would think so. Well, but yeah, probably. Did Boston host the
the ring ceremony?
Yeah,
right. You got to have that pretty early, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the beauty.
Yes, we did the same thing a year ago.
Yeah, we did.
It was great,
and it fell apart quickly.
Yeah.
Might Luka. It fall apart again this year? Luka doesn't play for Okie City.
He doesn't.
But Gilgeous-Alexander does. I probably should have had you try to grab some of the tape. On the basis of what I heard from Brian Scalabrine, big-time basketball analyst, you'd say that overconfidence is the Wolves' only enemy at this point forward. He absolutely loves this team, and one of the things he loves about it, we saw again yesterday to varying degrees at various times in the Game 5 victory, in which they did what they needed to do. We talked about yesterday throughout the show. Don't mess around with this. Don't put yourself in a position where you tempt the basketball gods. You could even, by the way, as the Warriors were mounting a semi-furious comeback into the fourth quarter, you saw on the bench Steph Curry stand up, get a grin on his face, and I could almost sense that he's starting to go, could we really do this?
Right.
Because then I'm sure he's thinking, I might have a shot to play Sunday. That's what I honestly believe. That he might have had a shot to play Sunday, and he's starting to wonder, God, could this? No. And the answer was no. As it turns out, the Wolves made just enough plays, and they finished the thing off. But that's the rarefied air in which we live. You can't run from it. You shouldn't apologize for it. And I honestly believe that Wolves fans should get used to it. Now, that doesn't mean Final Fours every year. But I'll say again, and it's hard to accept because of especially if you're old enough to know the history of this franchise. But the fact of the matter is, this is a damn well-run franchise. It just is. You don't have a clown as general manager where you go, what's he going to say next? What is he going to do? You don't have some arrogant coach who acted as if he sort of invented Showtime in Los Angeles. Kurt Rambis, of course, we're talking about.
Show of hands.
Who came to town and just like, no, you got a guy who's been doing it for, ever at all levels of basketball. Clearly knows what the hell he's doing. You got talent. And you got a general manager. Let's say worst case scenario is, we all wondered whether Julius Randle might want to rush to pick up his player option if he wasn't playing very well and to say, I'll just take the money and hope next year I'm better. Now the worry is, has he priced himself out of what we can afford?
It's crazy.
Right? It's nuts how it's changed.
It's a crazy discussion.
But what would be the mantra if Randle left? It would be, in Tim Connelly we trust. Would it not
yes.
be? It would be, all right, let's see him work his magic again. I saw a headline, was it Canis Hoopus? That I never thought I'd saw. We now have proof that the Wolves fleeced the Utah Jazz in the Rudy Gobert deal. How dramatically different the headlines have been, right? It started out as
worst trade in NBA history.
How many number ones can you give up for a guy who can't even grab the ball and score and gets, played off the court in the postseason? Now it's Utah's got some explaining to do on that deal. The Wolves got him they stole him. They stole Rudy Gobert, right?
And Mike Conley.
And
Nickeil Alexander-Walker, when you think about those two deals.
Remarkable.
Should we give some money away?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't want to get too carried away. I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I hope Fallness is all right.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. First keyword on this Thursday is win, W-I-N. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword win.
Tremendous loss for Golden State, no doubt. Tremendous loss for the series. And I'm sure it would have been quite different, had Steph been able to play. But our guys took care of business, and that's not something that we've always done. I thought we had a bunch of business-like approaches in this series and took advantage of something that happened and made the best of it. So no need to apologize for it. We just, went out and did it.
How'd Da Vinci hair look last night?
Like Western Conference Finals hair?
I wonder if he's going to feel pressure to kind of up his game with each round. Try something that's just added a little bit more of a touch to it. Now, he does seem to have an impressive array of glasses.
He
now,
does.
Are those readers? Are those fashion glasses where the lenses are clear? Or are those like he takes his contact lenses out and then needs regular glasses? Do we know on him?
I don't. I don't think he doesn't strike me as a guy who would just wear vanity glasses, glasses for the look.
I wouldn't rule it out.
It strikes me as a guy.
I don't think it would make him a bad person if he did. It's all the rage.
I think it's probably readers, but I don't know.
Might we also be the state of baseball? They can't lose. Minnesota Twins extend their winning streak in Baltimore to 11. 4-0 over the Baltimore Orioles of Washington. Your guy, Chris Paddock, 7 tenacious, dominant shutout innings. This is the 4th longest winning streak in team history.
That is crazy.
I remember the number one, 1991, 15 in a row. We did have a 12-gamer a year ago. I guess we got to keep that in mind because it didn't end very well last year. So we sweep the season series from the Orioles 6-0 after being swept by the Orioles a year ago. And more dongs. Deshaun Kersey Jr. and Buxton, back-to-back dongs today. Now, the bad news, and I guess this falls into the classification of course, is a pretty ugly-looking collision between Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa. What could go wrong? Because those guys, are never hurt.
Durability.
And it looked wicked. They were both down on their backs for a while. Teammates doing the old, signaling the training crew to get out there. Now, as I understand it, they both left under their own power, but they're both now listed as being in concussion protocol.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Correa left right away. Buck stayed in.
Oh, Buck did stay in? I thought they both left right away.
Well, he stayed in, but then they took him out a little bit later.
Okay.
Correa was right away. Buxton stayed in before exiting in the 4th inning. So about an inning later. But yes, both in concussion protocol.
Where do we go next?
Let's take a look.
And by the way, while you're looking that up,
Milwaukee this weekend.
Paddock gave up 9 runs in his first start. Since then, over the next 8, a 2.51 earned run average, 7 or more innings in consecutive starts for the first time in his 7-year Major League Baseball career.
That's pretty good.
Everybody's doing it. Castro, 2 hits. Royce Lewis, 2 hits. A nice sliding catch by Lewis in foul territory. And by the way, was it Clemens' kid?
Yeah.
Who gunned out a runner trying to stretch a double into a triple on a ball down the right field line?
It was.
Or was it a relay throw? Was it his throw?
I think it was his, but I know he had the 3-run dong that got them the win yesterday. He had the dong at Fenway, the first time he ever played there in his dad's old stomping grounds.
So let me ask you this. When we were at this same point a year ago with the Wolves, my recollection of you was that you were cocky going into the Dallas series.
Yes.
I think I was probably pretty cocky, too.
Yeah. Cocky might not be the right word, but I was...
Self-assured?
Yeah, I just felt
confident.
Like they just knocked out the defending champs.
Yes.
You got home ice.
Yes.
The Mavs are just okay.
Are you as assured as you went into the series a year ago being? Because, again... we could find out as early as tonight, right? Denver is hosting Okie City tonight. Somebody texted me, and I don't know if they're trying to get me going or if it's true, that Jamal Murray has some kind of illness or injury that might affect his availability tonight, or at least that's being called into question. You know if that's true? Have you heard anything about it? We can double check that, too.
I do see that, yeah.
What is is it illness? Or is it's illness?
He's been added to the injury report, questionable for game 6.
Food poisoning?
Could be.
Well, that changes everything. They cannot win without him.
Probably not.
No, they cannot win without him. I mean, Joker could go for 60. They're not going to win. They don't have enough other options right now. Certainly, there are none on the bench that give them a chance. So that would be a big, big loss. As I understand it, would you be as cocksure as you were a year ago? Or are you going to be a little bit more conservative on the basis of the lessons that last year provided?
I think it's the latter. And also, I know this is going to sound weird because they're 8-2 now in the playoffs. But I'm wondering if we really know how good they are given who they've played. I feel like I'm not giving them enough credit because the Lakers were obviously a mess.
Yes.
They turned out to be a mess. Obviously, with Steph Curry being out, that's a dramatically different team. I'm kind of worried.
You're worried that our road has been so easy that we're not as good as we appear?
That's kind of what I talked myself into today.
Wow.
Now, everybody's playing well right now. That's the nice thing. Obviously, Ant, had the turnovers last night, but the assists and just the defense, and Randall is at this completely different level. I'm fired. I'm just excited. I don't really care who they play because I know both teams tend to bring out the best in them, right? They love playing Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. They certainly love playing Denver. it could set up to be an absolutely classic Western Conference final.
I think it could.
I feel good.
Yeah, but I think, part of what this is the tough part about it. No question, they got a break with Golden State. You could say that on the basis of what we saw with the Lakers, that they overachieved by winning 50, and they weren't really that good, and the Wolves exposed them. But that also leaves out the possibility that they looked as bad as they did in part because the Wolves made them look that bad.
That's fair.
I know a lot of people, and me included, who believe that if the Lakers had several other first-round matchups, they might have won those series. It may well be that the Wolves represented a bad matchup for them. Now, are the Wolves clearly... They're going to have to play tighter than they did against Golden State.
Yes.
And so is it human nature that they almost knew what they could get away with, even if they would never admit that? And they know that in the next round, especially if it's Oklahoma City, that they can't mess around with games. They can't play with the food for, a quarter and a half because they'll get drilled by Okie City. That's the question. The beauty of it is they have a great opportunity now to answer all of those questions, and we have basketball for at least a couple more weeks. A year ago, writes Dylan from Northfield, the talker was that we didn't have enough left for the Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. Well, there is some truth to that it was a hard-fought, full 7-game series. We shocked the world there. You were there for it. And I'm not convinced it would have mattered if we'd won it more decisively or we hadn't let it get to 7. You could argue that Edwards certainly seemed gassed to a certain extent. Would he have been less gassed if the Wolves had knocked off Denver in 5 games or something like that? I don't know that we'll ever particularly know about that.
It's nice that they should be fresh, though, going into this series. They should not be, fatigue should not be a problem this year.
Here's the thing to keep an eye on, too, and then we're going to break and prepare for Sam Mitchell. We're still in this fluid state where things can change in a minute, in a New York minute. Example. Until this last game in New York, people were starting to rave about Cat.
Yeah.
He had a couple of good games before that and said, no, he still doesn't see the ball enough probably in the fourth quarter, but he had one game where he had, I think, was it 15 rebounds, 24 points, whatever. He was helpful. Then he wasn't a factor this last game. And now it's back to, can Cat carry us for one game, for God's sake? Come on, what's going on here? So it could change with us, too, if, let's say against Oklahoma City, we go there, get clobbered the first 2, and several players get exposed there, and it's even Randall. Randall is, right now, the talk of the league. Steve Kerr basically wanted to hand him the MVP award last night. And for every good reason. He has been revelatory in the way he has played this postseason, but it doesn't take much for the narrative to change. You go, it was good as far as it went, but now you're in the Final Four, and now certain things get exposed. So it can change very, very quickly. We found that out a year ago, and it could change again with this series or what's coming up next as well. Sam Mitchell, questions for him. Hit the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line. Sam will join us next. Stay tuned.
Just proud of our group as a whole, organization as a whole, just sticking together, having each other's backs, and, just battling through adversity together, not letting hard times, split us up as a group, but, us, having a mental toughness and, determination to say we're going to figure this thing out, because I think all of us, as a whole believe how good, we could be as a team. So, I'm extremely proud of everybody in this organization on this team.
Julius Randle last night in the wake of the Wolves eliminating the Golden State Warriors in, just as Sam Mitchell predicted, 5 games. Sam's back with us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Welcome back.
Do I get a minute?
Yeah.
Can I get like 30 seconds
yes,
to pat myself on the back and then to beat you guys up and the other fans in Minnesota?
Sure.
I thought you guys were Nordic people, tough people. Dude, I keep having to talk you guys off the cliff. You have a championship caliber team. And look, Micah Nora was one of my assistant coaches. I know pretty much all the coaches on your staff except for the head coach. You got an excellent coaching staff. Second, all of you guys early in the season want to kick Julius Randle to the fan. I'm on record on Sirius. I've been saying this for the last 5 years. I'm a Julius Randle fan. You just have to understand how to coach him. Chris Finch and that coaching staff done that. Anthony Edwards and those players finally realized what a selfless and unselfish player Julius is, and he's a physical guy offensively. So, Dan, my eyes tell me when I look at this team, and your best player is not afraid of anyone in the league. He loves those challenges, and he's unselfish. So to me, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mind going on record, I think the Timberwolves are the best team that's left in this tournament.
You going to stand by that?
Dude, I said that to you last time.
You did?
I told you and I talk off air.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying things that you and I say off air. I'm saying I think they're the best team left in the tournament.
Yeah,
now, that doesn't mean they can't get beat.
Right.
Because their biggest issue, they get in their own way sometimes.
They do.
By doing dumb things. Taking bad shots, over dribbling.
Turnovers.
But when they move the ball, set screens, play with space, and take their shots, they're as good as anybody in the league.
All right. Well, let's remember, though, I'll give you your credit. Are you done being in awe of yourself, first of all? Secondly, if you are...
No,
not
but
quite,
I'll stop right now.
For a moment. You can get back to it. Because my recollection is a year ago, you said the Wolves would beat Dallas as well. And they didn't beat them. So, I mean...
They came awfully close.
Well, they lost in 5.
Well,
they played games close. Yes, until the last one.
They learned.
Yeah, well,
look how they've grown. They've learned.
Well, let me ask you this. See if you can talk my partner off the ledge here a little bit. Off the ledge is too strong a term. He's
hey,
a huge,
I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I don't think the Timberwolves have played a good series yet, of good team basketball on both ends.
Yeah.
Because they still, like last night, they let Golden State hang around.
They did.
I mean,
they did.
Look, once Steph Curry got hurt, I thought they would win in 5 anyway, but once Steph got hurt, it was just a matter of playing the games. Everyone knew that. But, okay, and I was sitting there watching the game saying a mature championship team don't play around. They put people to sleep.
Yeah, there's no question. I agree with that. Here's part of what he mentioned earlier in the show. He said, look, the Lakers looked very flawed against the Wolves. Obviously, Golden State is a player short if Steph is only available for part of the first game. So I think what's lurking in the back of his mind is, okay, I want to think the sky's the limit, but is part of the story that we really don't yet know how good the Wolves are on the basis of the flawed teams. One, because of injury, the other because they're just flawed in terms of a roster that we... Sam? Wow. That's bad. Well, we'll get him back. I'm sure he was on the golf course. Part 2 with Sam Mitchell coming up here. Reminder that Kevin Seifert is going to join us today at 4:15. He's got some schedule, NFL Vikings particular, schedule thoughts. And then there's another quarterback whisperer story we've got to get to involving the Chicago Bears quarterback and Kevin O'Connell, KOC. So that'll be a part of the conversation with Seifert. And then right now we're going to be wide open into the 5. All right, anyway, did you get what I said about Guardsy's concern that are the Wolves as good as they've looked in terms of they knocked off 2 teams in 5, or did they play as part of the story that we really don't know how good they are yet because they beat a flawed team in the Lakers and they beat another flawed team that was missing its best piece much of the series. Yeah.
All right, this one I'm going to push back.
Okay.
None of y'all said the Lakers were flawed until the Timberwolves exposed how flawed they were. I said it. I saw it, but those 11 people on ESPN never saw that. They just fell in love with LeBron and Luka.
They did.
On the offensive end. But they don't forget that in basketball, unlike football, that player got to play defense. So that was my rationale. The Golden State Warriors. Now, I think if Steph would have played, they could have went 6. But the size. Minnesota's just too big, too athletic, just too overpowering, and they're skilled. Look at Julius Randle. He beats you up as he scores on you. I love players like that. He's a smaller version of Karl Malone with ball skills.
Mm-hmm.
So Rudy Gobert, a lot better than what people think. We know how good he is defensively,
right.
But if he's playing against little bitty guys, he looks like Wilt Chamberlain out there. And I keep telling you guys, 7-2 and 6-6, 6-6 gonna lose in a 7-game series. Why? He's at elbow length. Draymond Green, as tough as he is, he got tired of Rudy Gobert and those elbows in his face. So it beats you up and beats you down. And last but not least, Jimmy Butler, you saw he had nothing left last night.
Well,
I was watching the game, Dan,
right, yeah.
and I kept picking out so many times that Jimmy Butler had the opportunity to take a guy, right, to be aggressive.
No question.
And he passed it up. And when I saw that, I'm like, if the best players left, he understands they can't win without Steph. He was beat.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about this. I don't want to go too far down, Golden State Warrior fan line here, but I do want to follow up because here's what I would be, if I were a Warriors fan and even Warriors management, I'd be infuriated by. In effect, Buckets kind of seems to want it both ways now, where, okay, you better make sure I get my money, because if I don't get my money, I'm going to do exactly what I did in Miami. Okay, you're going to give me my money? Okay, I'm fine. But you know and I know that the pact that's supposed to be made is, well, if our other best player goes down, Jimmy, we can't have you taking 9 shots. We can't have you taking 13 shots. We gave you the money. Now, where's our payoff?
Go take 30 shots. You got to take 30 shots.
Yes.
Yes, Dan, listen. I've been in the locker room as a player. We're playing Game 7 against the Knicks. Vern Fleming, our captain, stands up. He looks Reggie Miller in the eye and said, look, Reggie, if we lose this game and you go 7 for 35, we'll go home and sleep like a baby. But if we lose this game and you take 12 shots, that's going to be a problem.
Right. No, 100% true. All right, let's go. Let's move forward here. That Denver is hosting Game 6 tonight. There's a new report that Jamal Murray's sick. I don't know if it's like food poisoning or whatever, but that he's questionable. I assume he'll try to soldier on, but I don't know if he can. So who is the tougher opponent for the Wolves? And, answer that question first, and then we'll follow up on that basis. Is it
the tougher opponent is OKC.
Okay. Why?
For this reason, their depth.
Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota has depth. So now, if the depth cancels each other out, now it's going to come down to your starters and execution and running your stuff. Now, this is the thing I think the T-Wolves can do. They can guard Shea. What I've seen with OKC weaknesses right now, when Shea is not on the floor, they're not the same team. Because Jalen Williams tries to play like Shea and he can't. Right? So they are not a good offensive team when Shea is not at the point. Second, have you noticed when the game gets tight, he takes all the shots?
Yeah.
That's concerning. That tells me, and that's how they play. So to me, that's why I believe the Wolves are the best team left. Julius Randle has proven he can close. We know Anthony Edwards can close. They got other guys, Mike Conley and other guys who can make shots at key moments. That's why I keep saying that the Timberwolves are the best team left in the tournament. Yeah, do they have weaknesses? They do. They get in their own way. Last night, Anthony Edwards playing with the basketball got stripped. Unacceptable.
Right, yes.
Unacceptable.
Yep.
Yes. He should take himself to the woodshed. In a playoff closeout game, to be that careless with the ball, if that would have happened with one of his teammates, he would have been all over. But again, that's the thing that they can do. You do that in a tie score with a minute to go, it costs you a series. But they got to clean that up. So all these teams have warts, but I do believe OKC would be the toughest. But I think Minnesota will beat them because I think they can defend Shea or make it tough for him with their size, and they can throw multiple people at him. And I've seen with Shea, if he's not getting to the free throw line, that takes about 7 points away from his average right now. They struggle if he don't get those 7 points.
They don't struggle.
As you can tell, Dan, I've been watching these games.
Sure, well, you always do. They don't struggle to guard, though. That's a big-time defensive team.
No, they don't.
So how do the Wolves handle that, the kind of pressure? There have been stretches with Denver where you watch it for like 7 or 8 minutes, you go, God, this is masterful defense. So how do the Wolves cope with that part of it?
But think about this, Dan. You say that, and Denver has a chance to win the game tonight and make it a 7-game series. Denver had a chance.
Yeah, you're right.
To be up right now in this series.
If somebody else would hit a shot besides Joker.
There you go. So again, as good as that defense is, this is what the Timberwolves got to do. They got to do what Boston did last night. Move the ball.
Well said. Yep.
Don't hold. When you penetrate, get off of it. Don't catch and hold. The reason Boston, and I hear I'm listening to the radio, people saying, oh, Boston better without Tatum. No, you're sick. The problem with Boston is when Tatum and Brown are playing, Joe Mazzulla lets them play one-on-one and don't coach. Without Brown or Tatum, he has to coach, and he emphasizes ball movement. If the Timberwolves move the basketball, starting with Anthony Edwards, because he's the guy that breaks everything down here in Julius Randle. When those two initiate the offense and get the ball moving, the Timberwolves are a very, very good offensive team. If they can just remember to do that and don't get in their way, I believe you guys got a chance to be hosting the championship. I'll make a deal with you. Y'all win the championship. Since y'all don't believe it, your radio station fly me in.
What? Are you willing to pay your way?
Dan, you guys should fly me in. I've been giving you all this love and talking you guys off the cliff.
Well, first of all,
and making sure you understand that you guys have the best team.
First of all, I believe the record will show that my producer and I both picked the Wolves to win both these series, but that's okay. I will grant you, I texted
after I educated you guys.
Of course, that was it. I should have known. I should have known that would be the case. I do have a follow-up Randall question. So here's we're here all the time. You follow this team pretty closely. There doesn't seem to be much question, and we had Michael Grady on. I don't know how well you know him, the TV voice of the team. He does a terrific job here. He's probably about to take a national gig, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I know Michael.
You know Michael. Okay, so Michael said to us yesterday he believes there was some agenda stuff going on early as people were trying to figure themselves out. When things aren't going well, you start to feel sorry for yourself and go, I got to get mine. And that was resolved over a period of time. Clearly that it was. And you had situations where it looked like Randall refused to get the ball to Rudy because Rudy fumbled it one time, and then Rudy got mad. And all that stuff going on. It was obvious. So Randall gets hurt, comes back, and he plays the way I felt like he needed to play, which was be the point forward. You're a natural scorer, so you're still going to get some points. But don't worry about getting 30. Worry about the things you have, the skills you have, that if you mesh them with what else Anthony can do and several other players, you can be a weapon for this team because you can pass. The ball doesn't have to stay sticky in your hands. You can move it from point A to point B. You can drive, whatever the case may be. As a former player, what I'm trying to get from you is, how does the light bulb go off in the head? Because it doesn't always. And why did it, you think, in this case? Because it's a complete transition from what we saw earlier in the way that he is meshing with his teammates.
Dan, sometimes when you are out and you get to sit and watch, and the coaches them have been telling you this, but you think everybody's picking on you, but now you're seeing it. You're forced to watch the game. You're forced to watch the space and the ball movement, how the team looks without you. And then you start imagining yourself doing what you do, bringing to the table. And I just think a lot of it was trust. I think people thought early Julius was trying to show that he can score. Mm-hmm. He looked like he was trying to get a contract. But I think after he got hurt, and Coach Finch set him down and said, look, I'm going to trust you with the ball, but you got to do the right thing. And not just me, your teammates got to trust you. And when he started passing, now he comes down and takes some ill-advised shots. The teammates don't get mad. You don't see their shoulders drop.
Right.
You don't see them looking all around, eyes are rolling, because they know that Julius going to come right back and set them up for an easy shot. And I think what Anthony Edwards has figured out, it's been a break for him. He don't have to kill himself all the time now,
right,
doing the playmaking.
Yep.
Because think about it. Mike Conley basically became a spot-up shooter. Anthony Edwards was your de facto point guard. initiating the offense, getting everybody going. Now with Julius being able to do that, I think now we see a better Anthony Edwards on defense.
No doubt.
Because he has more energy.
Mm-hmm. Well said. By the way, Cat has always been one of your favorite players. Is he and the rest of the New York Knicks actually in danger of losing this series?
Look, they should win tonight without Tatum.
Tomorrow night, I think.
Tomorrow night without Tatum. But if they don't come ready to play and they don't come button up, can Boston beat them? Yeah, but Dan, you know this. As great as Boston looked on the road, role players look. Mm-hmm. Role players look, man, the reason role players look good at home.
Yeah.
But they don't translate over to the road.
Right.
So just look, I think New York going to close them out tomorrow. Tatum, that's just too much to overcome. It's like the same with Steph. Did you really think Golden State were going to beat the Wolves once Steph went down?
No. But to your point, the ball does move better, and they have other people who can score.
But let me ask you this. Are those guys going to shoot with the same confidence on the road as they do at home?
Yeah, that's the fair question. Yeah, that's a very fair question.
Are they going to shoot like that on the road?
Yeah.
There you go. They're not comfortable.
That's
You're in
true.
the garden. The people going crazy. They're threatening your life. Hey, man. You've been in that building.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think you've hit on the most important point here, and we talked about it some yesterday, too, and we got into this with Grady. Because of the way these playoffs have played out to this point, right? Boston still on the verge of being eliminated. They're not out yet, but, they're certainly in danger. Their best player is definitely out. Cleveland, a 64-win team, is dead, right? In terms of opening up the door on that side of the tournament. And you get the fact that there's no heavyweight with championship equity team left, as good as Oklahoma City was in the regular season. And I'm sure if you were in the locker room, you'd say the same thing. These players, man, seize this opportunity. Do not say, well, it's supposed to take time and we got to go through some trials and tribulations.
No.
Go after it right now.
Look what happened to Boston. Tatum goes down. We say this every year. Yeah, this team can win if they stay healthy. Well, we see how hard that is to do come the playoffs. Guys are playing more minutes. The games are every other day. Freak accident, it happens. All right, now look at Boston.
Yeah.
Now look at Boston Wendell for next year. He's going to miss all of next year. So if you're Boston, they may look totally different. They may start trading players this summer. With Tatum going to miss the whole season probably next year. So again, you don't ever know your window when it's going to be there. Right now, the teams that are left playing, all of those teams can win the championship. I really believe that.
Yeah, I do too.
Indiana could win it.
Absolutely.
The Knicks could win it. Yeah, can Boston still win? Yeah, they could. Yeah, all these Denver, OKC. So everybody's left. So look yourself in the mirror if you're Minnesota and look at them other teams and say, we know we could beat Denver. Our depth just wear them down, our size, our athleticism. We know we can beat OKC. Look at the East. You're telling me we can't beat the Pacers? We can't beat the Knicks? We can't beat the Celtics without Tatum? Come on, man. This is real. I mean, right now, if you're the Timberwolves, you should be pitching yourself saying, guys, we are as good, if not better, than everybody left in this tournament.
Yeah.
If we button up and get focused and understand, because next year, Mike Conley going to be a year older.
Right.
You don't know if guys going to make shots. You don't know who's going to be healthy. So right now is the time to win this championship. Go get it. And worry about next year. Next year, take care of itself.
Sam, I got to play you before we're done here some sound that we played on yesterday's show that you might have already heard. But whether you have or not, I want you to hear it again. And if it's the first time, I think you'll get a kick out of it. And then I want to get your reaction to basically what KG is talking about here. It's his podcast with Paul Pierce. And he's talking about when he came back to rejoin the Wolves after the Celtics, or after Brooklyn, technically, to be sort of that senior statesman and some stuff that he says he ran into in the locker room. Please listen.
So when I went back to Minnesota for Brooklyn, knowing that this is my last stint, I started to see it there. When I come to the locker room, I'm used to sitting in the locker room halftime, and then I'm going, hey, what we doing on pick and roll? We talking about the game, you know, drinking Gatorade, getting the leg wrap, all type of shit. When I came in the locker room, first off, nobody was in the locker room. Damn. I went to the training room, everybody in the training room, chilling, leg up, phone. Hey, babe, hey, girl, you chill. This halftime. So, you know, I'm OG. Hey, man, let me see everybody in the locker room for a second. So everybody, you know, I was like, yo, bro, what's this? And then Rubio just said, yeah, man, nobody wants to talk, man. Everybody's on their phones, man. We need to figure out the pick and roll. Like, Rubio had an old school kind of, but that was the first time I got to see, like, this new lens. Yeah. And Rubio, Zach, and Wiggins was like, Wiggins wasn't vocal, but he was like a little leader. So I pulled them aside, like, listen, this is what we on. And I had to come to it like not an understanding agreement, but with an understanding, I'm going to respect y'all young that y'all the future, but I'm also the OG in here, and I got to put some of this traditional in here. Y'all can be on your phones. Let's talk about what we're going to do for 5 minutes before the coaches come in here.
So there you have it. That's the biggest part of it. Sam, had you heard that before? What do you make of it?
Dan, I never heard it being one of the coaches. Am I shocked? No. Do I believe every word of it? 1,000%. And but listen to what he said. Look how he handled it, though.
Yeah.
Look, man, y'all gonna do what y'all do, but let's first spend 5 minutes talking about this pick and roll. See, Dan, there's a lot of ways. You don't have to come in throwing chairs and cursing and screaming and call people out of name.
Yeah.
But you got to understand that. But this is what I would say about the younger generation. They're more skilled than we are. They're better players. Look at the shots they make, Dan.
Right.
They take some of the hardest, toughest shots, and they make them with ease. So, look, man, that tells me these kids work. So that's why I push back on the older guys, say these guys don't work. Yes, they do. Look how skilled they are. Mm-hmm. Look at the shots they make. Dan, we couldn't shoot it like this. Look at everybody on the team. How many Julius Randles did we have when I played? Not many.
No.
Not physical. Karl Malone was big and physical, but he wasn't as ball skilled as Julius Randle.
No.
He didn't shoot threes. He just beat you up.
Yeah.
So I push back when these guys in our era say, oh, these guys can play in our era. No, a lot of our guys can play in this era. Let's call it like it is. Them unskilled guys, they can't play in this era. If you can't pass, shoot, and dribble, you can't play in today's NBA.
All right, here's the plan. Now that the conference finals I guess they will start either Sunday or Tuesday. The Wolves will start on the road, depending on whether Denver extends the other series tonight. So the plan is we're going to have you like once a week until the Wolves are eliminated. You have no choice.
Dan, I enjoy talking you guys off the ledge. I'm disappointed in my Minnesota people, my second home,
right?
Because y'all tougher than this.
Well, we should be,
but y'all just ready to throw the towel on any little thing. It's a 7-game series.
Yeah,
they're gonna lose a game or two.
Yeah,
this is professional sports.
That's true.
The other team gets a check too.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah. Well, I think
they got coaches.
There's a lot of baggage here, Sam. There's been a lot of there haven't been a lot of championships outside of the Lynx, who've been very good lately. There haven't been a lot of championships, so I think people start just assuming the worst. They connect dots that really shouldn't be connected, even with other sports. You know what I'm saying?
Dan, as a person who's been divorced and remarried, very early into my second marriage, my new wife sat me down and had to remind me, you can't bring that baggage from the first marriage to this one. We got to get our own baggage. This is a different team. Y'all stop bringing the baggage of the past. Y'all still bringing Sam Cassell, KG, right, Flip, and all them, blessed dead. Yeah. Y'all bringing that baggage. Come on, man. So let this group, Coach Finch, let this group get his own baggage.
So you're saying...
Give them that.
You're saying...
Because everybody's got baggage.
So if I can translate this, you're saying let go of the David Kahn era. He's not running the front office anymore.
Thank you.
Kurt Rambis is no longer the coach. This is a different era. That's what you're saying. Okay. That's fair.
Dude, it's a different era, and these guys are focused. Yeah. They love playing.
Yeah.
They play hard. They respect their coach and coaches. The GM has put together. Look, man, I'm not saying they're going to win. But you tell me, and you look at all these teams left in the tournament.
No,
and you tell me that Minnesota it shouldn't be ranked 1 or 2 on everybody.
I agree, totally.
If you don't have them 1, they got to be 2.
Yeah.
Just on what they can do defensively.
It's absolutely right. And the versatility in terms of guarding with a lot of wings.
And who has a guy like Nas Reed coming off the bench?
No, nobody. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you. So, dude, just again, on everybody's list, they got to be 1 or 2.
No question. So we'll see you in the finals here is what you're telling us. Because if they make the finals, you'll have to be here.
Yes, KFAN's going to fly me up. Your radio station's going to fly me up.
Well, I'll talk to the bosses.
And I don't fly coach, man. I'm not flying coach out.
I didn't think you'd be flying with the peasants. I didn't have any doubt about that for sure.
It got nothing to do with the peasants. I'm 6'7", Dan. See how you do things? See, I'm 6'7", with an artificial hip and knee.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I forgot about that surgery. Yeah, and you got quite a wingspan too, don't you? Yeah. All right. Well, our people will be in touch with your people. Thank you.
I love it. All right, Dan.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Sam. Sam Mitchell, the one and the only. We'll get to some reaction via the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line. We're going to talk some football with Kevin Seifert in about 10 or 15 minutes, particularly about that Vikings schedule.